There is no version of you that is too inexperienced, too quiet, too much, or too niche to be a great yoga teacher. But you do have to be you. I'm Sage Rountree, and I help yoga teachers find their authentic teaching voice and build sustainable careers. I have spent over 20 years teaching, running a studio, and training teachers. And the single most common thing I watch new teachers do is try to sound like someone else. In this video, I'm going to show you why your authentic voice is the most powerful teaching tool you have, how to uncover it, and how to keep developing it over the course of your career. I explore this in much more depth on my podcast, Yoga Teacher Confidential. I'll link the Teaching Voice playlist in the description. And if you want to work on your teaching voice alongside a community of teachers who are doing the same, join The Zone, my free community at Comfort Zone Yoga. The link is in the description. Early in my teaching career, in fact, it was my second ever class, I was covering a class for a teacher named Brian. And I kept apologizing throughout class for not being Brian. I know Brian usually does it this way. I'm sorry, I'm not Brian. After class, two students came up to me and said something I had never forgotten. We could tell you weren't Brian, so you didn't need to apologize for not being Brian. Whew. You are not your teacher trainer. You are not the teacher whose class you've been taking for 5 years. You are not the person with the most followers or the most advanced practice. You are you, and that is genuinely enough. This doesn't mean you can't learn from other teachers. Of course you can and you should, but learning from someone is different from performing as them. When you try to teach in someone else's voice, your students can feel the gap between you and the performance. When you teach in your own voice, even an imperfect, still developing voice, they feel the authenticity. And authenticity is what builds loyalty. Here is a counterintuitive truth. The things that come most naturally to you in your own practice are often the hardest things for you to teach clearly. When something is automatic for you, when you've been doing it for years without thinking, you stop noticing the micro steps that make it work. You can't explain what you're not aware of doing. Meanwhile, the struggles you have worked through in your own practice are a goldmine for you as a teacher. If you spent years working on a pose that was hard for you, you understand the challenges from the inside. You know which cues actually helped. You know what it feels like when something clicks. This means your quote-unquote weaknesses, your self-perceived weaknesses as a practitioner, may be some of your greatest assets as a teacher. The teacher who found balancing poses terrifying is often the one who knows exactly what to say to the student who's about to give up. Your authentic teaching voice is not something you invent. It's something you uncover over time by paying attention. Here are a few practices that will accelerate the process. Teach the same sequence multiple times. The first time through a sequence, you're managing logistics. The 5th time, you're starting to find your natural language for it. The 15th time, something settles that is distinctly yours. Record yourself. This is uncomfortable. Do it anyway. The gap between how you think you sound and how you actually sound closes over time. And closing it is one of the fastest paths to finding your own authentic delivery. Notice which students thrive with you. Your voice will resonate more with some students than with others, and that is not a problem. It is a map. The students who keep coming back are telling you something about who your authentic teaching serves. Study what you're drawn to. The poses, the themes, the ideas that light you up as a practitioner are clues to what your teaching has to offer. Your enthusiasms are not accidents, they're pointing somewhere. Most yoga teachers I have worked with can identify a moment when they knew they wanted to teach and not just practice yoga, but share it. That moment is worth sitting with because it usually holds a clue about your unique contribution. What was the experience that made you want to give this experience to others? What did yoga do for you that you want to pass on? What do you understand about your students that you wish someone had understood about you earlier in your own practice? Your answers to those questions are the seeds of your teaching voice. They're the reason you are at the front of the room, and they're what will make your teaching distinct even when you're teaching the same poses as everyone else. Your teaching voice at year 2 will be different from your teaching voice at year 10. That's not inconsistency, that's growth and evolution. The teachers who develop most consistently are the ones who make self-assessment a regular practice, not as self-criticism, but as genuine curiosity. After each class, ask what worked, what didn't, what would I do differently? Not to beat yourself up, but to gather data. One of the most valuable and uncomfortable tools for self-assessment is recording yourself. Watch one class back per month of teaching. You don't have to do anything with it except notice. Over time, the noticing will shape your teaching far more than any external feedback. What is one moment from your own teaching, like a phrase that landed or a class that clicked or a student who responded in a way that surprised you, that pointed toward your authentic voice? Please share it in the comments. I mean it. I really want to hear these. If you want to keep developing your voice alongside a community of teachers who are doing the same work, join the Zone at Comfort Zone Yoga, my free community for yoga teachers. You'll get monthly live calls, over 2,100 colleagues to chat with, and a space where your voice matters. The link is in the description. For more on finding your teaching voice, including episodes on authentic self-expression, why your practitioner background shapes your teaching, and how to use self-assessment to grow, check out the Teaching Voice playlist on my Yoga Teacher Confidential podcast. I'll link it in the description, and I'll see you there.